What's up guys, Glock Guy 226 here, and tonight I want to talk a little bit about home defense. Now there are tons of videos on this. I know so many people have so many different opinions on the matter, and to me I really don't think there's any answer, end all be all answer to this. It's just a matter of your situation. There's a lot of different things you need to think about that come into play for your home defense setup. So we're going to go over some of those things, go over some of the stuff I personally like to do, and just some of my thoughts and opinions on the topic. The first thing you need to think of is choice of gun. We'll go ahead and make sure the gun's clear. As you can see, this is a Sig Sauer 226 MK25. Just, any basic semi-auto handgun. I usually have this or my Glock 19. I do carry my Glock 43 at times, but we'll just say semi-automatic handgun. Holds a decent amount of rounds in it, more than a revolver. Anywhere from 10 to 15 rounds or more at times. My setup here, I like to have night sights. I think a light is mandatory for a home defense gun. You want to be able to assess the situation, and that's what, the night sights are great. If I hear something in this general direction, I can have my night sights lined up and ready, and I'm not going to shoot till I know, what that target is and what's beyond that target. I'm going to have my night sights lined up and ready, hit that momentary, and be able to, easily assess the situation. You don't want to just, hear a bump in the night and come down guns a-blazing. You need to make sure it's not one of the kids, it's not your wife, it's not a family member. You want to make sure that it is indeed a threat before you start engaging. So having a light is a must, whether you have a pistol, a shotgun, a rifle, whatever. Having a light, guys, is a must. Now, you might not be able to run a weapon-mounted light, but even running a flashlight with it. Your one-handed pistol with a flashlight, we'll get into that a little more here in a little bit. But, like I said, I like having a semi-auto, good firepower, reliable. You're just not going to beat this small package. Very easily maneuverable around the house, through doorways, around corners. If I have to operate with one hand and have my kids behind me, whatever, my wife, I could easily do that as well. So, if I'm calling 911 while I have the gun, very good choice, guys. You can't go wrong with a semi-auto handgun. Now, you don't have to, whatever kind of gun you have, whether it's a pistol, a shotgun, a rifle, it's better than nothing. These are just some of the choices that are out there. I'm just kind of letting you guys know a few things that I like to do. So, another good choice is a revolver. Now, this might not be a lot of people's first choice, and it's not my first choice by any means, but, there's nothing wrong with a revolver. The only downside I see to that is the 5-round capacity. There's a lot of guys that stand by these over semi-autos, and that's great. I mean, there's a lot of guys that can quickly reload a revolver, but, if I don't have to do a reload in the middle of a self-defense situation, that would be great. So, in a stressful situation like that, guys, things aren't quite as easy as being out at the range doing reloads. But this revolver, Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 38, it has the integrated laser in it, 5 rounds. I put the Hogue grip on there so you get a better purchase on the gun. That stock grip, your pinky would hang off. It wasn't the most comfortable thing to shoot. This Hogue gives you a little bit more to get there. So, it's definitely better than the stock grip was. But, a 5-shot revolver, guys, like I said, it's not horrible. If it's all you have, that's great. Whether it be a 357, a 44, whatever you have. If my wife was hunkered down in the closet with the kids and, someone broke in, she's hiding with this gun, a 5-shot revolver probably isn't the best thing for her to have. Chances are there's more than one guy in the house, or at least somebody outside waiting and somebody inside. Just 5 rounds isn't the most ideal thing. Now, it is better than nothing, so my wife's comfortable with this gun. It's what she likes, so we keep this, easily accessible for her at all times. I can't disagree with it. I wish she would transition to semi-autos, which she's getting there, getting more comfortable with them. We're kind of running through different guns, seeing what she really likes, what she doesn't. But that's another topic too. So revolvers, guys, good choice. The only downside to that is a light. You really need to be able to know what you're shooting. So, cop style here, running your revolver with your light underneath here, something like that. You could do that. Just make sure you always have a light easily accessible. I keep a light in my nightstand. I have lights all over the house. Power outages, not just for home defense. We're outside a lot, so having lights around, guys, is a very, very good thing. So We went over semi-autos, went over revolvers. Now we're going to step it up a little bit. This is a huge, a big answer to a lot of people's home defense situations, your shotgun. And this is a Mossberg 512 gauge. I'll show you guys that it is indeed empty. You can see in the chamber, the magazine tube. Now, shotguns are great for home defense. I'm not saying they're not by any means, but there are a lot of myths out there that really aren't the best. You can get on YouTube and find just about anything. And there's a lot of guys that know what they're talking about. A lot of guys that are a lot smarter than me on the subject. There are a few things that for my system and for what I prefer, I just don't agree with. Now, the biggest thing you're going to hear out there is, hey, you just buy a shotgun. All you got to do is aim it in that general direction, pull the trigger, and you're good to go. I don't agree with that at all. I don't know how many people have actually shot a shotgun that say that, but you have to use your sights, guys. No matter what you're shooting, always use your sights. Don't be dumb and just start pulling the trigger. Especially, you run buckshot in this for home defense. Say the guy's 10 yards away. Well, that buckshot spreads 1 inch for every yard. So if the guy's 10 yards away, your buckshot's 10-inch spread already. You can't just aim this thing and hope for the best. You need to look at your sights, whether they be a front bead like this. Most shotguns have that. Whether you're running a red dot or whatever, ghost ring sights, make sure you aim your gun, guys. Now, another thing here is the whole just rack your gun and it's going to scare that bad guy away. Now, that might be intimidating. Yes, I agree. And I'm not saying don't do that. If I'm running a shotgun for home defense, I'd probably do that. Well, how I keep my guns for home defense, my shotguns anyway, I would have to do that. And we'll get into that in a minute. But, the whole rack in your slide, and yes, that's going to intimidate the bad guy for sure. Just about everybody knows that sound. It's probably a very good chance it could scare him off. But we don't want to rely on intimidation for getting rid of that guy. We don't want to just be at the top of the stairs or our bedroom door, rack the slide, and think everything's great, You can do that, but you also need to be ready to engage that situation. You need to be ready to go out there, and hopefully you'd have a light on your gun. I don't have a light on this right now. I'm not running it for home defense. But have a light on your gun, announce yourself, try to see if it's, one of your family members or something. And if it's not, go out there and assess the situation, Have your sights lined up and ready, use your light, make sure of what you're shooting at and what's beyond that target. So don't just rely on the whole rack your shotgun and hope for the best. That may intimidate, but also be ready to engage that target. Okay, now, like I said, I would have to rack my shotgun. I personally don't keep my shotguns round in the chamber per se, ready to go. Most shotguns are not drop safe. I haven't exactly tested this, but there are a lot of shotguns, guys, that aren't drop safe. So just to be on the safe side of that, I keep my shotguns cruiser ready, which is, say we load our shotgun up, we're going to halfway rack around. So it's sitting in that magazine tube down here. All I got to do is pull forward and it's ready to go. So we keep around like that. Safety off. So if I did have to pick my shotgun up, all I got to do is pick it up, rack that round in, just a basic pump forward, and I'm ready to go. So that's how I keep my shotguns. You guys can do whatever you want. I just, please be careful. I've heard stories of guys keeping them loaded like that, even with the safety on. A shotgun falls out of a tree stand while you're hunting, and it goes off. So just please be careful with the shotguns, guys. Be aware of what could happen. I would recommend keeping them cruiser ready. It doesn't take any time to pick this gun up at the same time, rack that forward, and be ready to go. So just make sure you guys know what you're doing. Make sure you do your research. But all in all, guys, the shotgun is a good choice. They make a lot of low recoil buckshot. They make a lot of self-defense rounds that have rifled slugs and buckshot, which, where you live is going to come into play for that a lot. I wouldn't be running any type of slug unless you live pretty much in a rural area or on a farm, no kids in the house, something like that, because it's going to penetrate. That slug's definitely going to go through some walls as well as buckshot, but not as much as that slug. So, if you have neighbors, there's a very good chance that slug could be going over the neighbor's house. Let's face it, probably 80 to 90% of the homes in America are basic drywall and wood. and that slug's not going to slow down a whole lot going through that. So make sure you guys do your research on your ammo. You know, and then another thing with shotguns, you know, it is a long gun. It's going to be a little bit harder to maneuver around the house. And, you know, if you live with somebody else, are they going to be able to pick that 12 gauge up, handle it, handle the recoil of it? You know, these are things you really need to look at. So I don't really run a 12 gauge for home defense. I could if we needed to. You know, my wife could if she needed to. She has shot one. But for us, it's just not the best option. So shotguns are great. Just know what's good for you. Now, another big thing is your rifle. Whether it's an AR, whether it's a Mini 14, an AK, I don't really care what it is, guys. We'll go ahead and safety check that first of all. You can see right there. See, it's empty. Like I said, I don't care what it is. It's better than nothing. But for me, the rifle in the house isn't the best option. Even if I'm running hollow points or soft points, they're going to penetrate through some walls, guys, and probably go over to the neighbor's house and wake them up, if not hurt somebody. So, you know, I have this thing ready to go at all times and easily accessible, but that's more or less like a SHTF situation, or if we had to grab some stuff and get out of the house quickly, not, you know, a bump in the night, go walking around with my AR. If that's all you have, that's great, you know, or if this is what you choose, that's great. Just be aware that this sucker is going to penetrate very, pretty far, guys. You know, it's a decently high-powered rifle round made to penetrate, so this thing's going to go through some walls. It could go through the bad guy, his buddy, and a couple walls. So just always know your target and what's beyond it. Now with an AR, there are some plus sides to it. You got 30 rounds, or even if you live in, you know, one of the commie states here in the U.S., and I'm sorry if you do live there, won't mention any names, but say you can only have 10 rounds in your gun. That's still sufficient firepower out of, you know, a decently powered rifle, guys. So definitely not a bad choice. It is going to be loud. It's going to be kind of hard to maneuver around, but if you're trained well on these things, or even if you're decently familiar with them, they're definitely a force to be reckoned with. So not a bad choice, guys. You just, once again, have to know what's good for your situation. Now, as far as optics go, like I said on pistols, I run night sights on all of my pistols anyways, carry guns, home defense guns, whatever. I prefer to have night sights. Now, no matter what gun you're running, pistol, rifle, shotgun, make sure you have a light, or at least have a light accessible to use while you're using that gun. Now, if you're using a long gun, it's going to be a little harder to do. It can be done, but I would just get a weapon-mounted light. So, if you're running, you know, another popular thing these days are, you know, 9mm carbines, and this is considered a pistol actually, but, you know, it's a longer barrel pistol caliber gun. So we'll just say 9mm carbines, SBRs, whatever, just in this formation with the longer, you know, barrel and with a pistol cartridge. Also great for home defense. Now it's going to penetrate pretty decent. That longer barrel, you're getting a lot more velocity out of that round. But all in all, guys, it's a good choice. You know, very easily maneuverable around the house. If you had to get up, you know, and actually use this thing, you have a lot of control over it. Very sufficient firepower, and, you know, red dot. You know, if you're running iron sights on a shotgun or rifle, whatever, it's better than nothing. Hopefully you have a light, but if you can run a red dot or some sort of illuminated irons, whatever, that would be awesome. I mean, that helps out a whole lot, guys, especially in a stressful situation. If it's dark, if you're under high stress, you know, just being able to lift this gun up and easily assess that dot, great. So that is a big plus in my eyes. Now the CZ Scorpion does kind of serve a home defense purpose for me. We do live in a neighborhood. Our neighbors aren't per se, they're not super close to us. They are, you know, like I said, we live in a neighborhood, but we have pretty big yards here. So, I mean, there's a good possibility this could go through some walls and get over there, but more than likely it's going to be stopped before that happens. I really like the CZ Scorpion because it's just so small, it's so compact. I also have a folding stock on here. I do store it like this quite a bit. I take it in my range bags like this just because it's so compact. I mean, if I needed to use it, you know, almost in a pistol configuration like this, it's very easy to do. So, and then when I want to get down to business and have a little bit more stabilizing there, lift this up, throw it on my cheek, not my shoulder, my cheek, and have more stabilization there and be very, very good home defense gun. Especially, I really like these low sights, these low iron sights. Very quality stuff from CZ. This video isn't about the CZ, but the sight configuration on this is a big reason why I really like it for home defense. I run an aim point on here. I run a Black Spider optics on my AR. So they're two very good red dots. The Black Spider is more of a budget red dot, but it's still a great optic, guys. It's not an aim point, but it is still a very good optic. And like I said, a red dot for home defense or some sort of illuminated reticle scope. Very good for home defense. Now, I wouldn't recommend a high-powered scope for home defense, obviously, because more than likely you're going to be shooting about 4 to 10 yards at most, unless you live on a farm and there's a guy out in your barn that you might have to stretch out to 50 yards. That might be a good option for you. These are all, like I said, I can't recommend one of these things over another to you. You just really have to think about your situation. And if you only have one of these guns, that's better than nothing. That's great for home defense. So just look into, ammunition types, lights for your home defense guns, and make sure you're familiar with them. If you go to draw that gun, pull the trigger, and all you get's a click, you need to know what to do next. As well as anybody else that could possibly be using these guns. So I have a little list over here, guys. Let me make sure I kind of hit everything I wanted to. Guns being easily available. I don't know if I hit on that, but I'm an everyday carrier. My wife has her permit in the process right now, so hopefully the next few months she will be as well. My gun's on my hip from the time I wake up, time I go to bed, and if it's off my hip, it's within arm's reach. When I'm at work or if my wife's home by herself, whatever, she has a gun close to her at all times as well. She might not carry it on her person, but she does have one close to her no matter where she's at. And they are locked up. They are safe away from the kids. They couldn't access them if they wanted to. So that's another big thing you need to think of too, is being near a gun, readily available at most times. So it's not, some people might not be able to be near a long gun or something at all times, but at least be within proximity of it. And if you have the option to have multiple guns readily available, I would recommend doing that. Now, beside the gun point of, home defense, I highly recommend getting a home security system, guys. It's a great peace of mind. We have an ADT system with sensors on every window, glass breaking sensors, motion detectors. Now, this system was installed before we moved in here. I know they can be expensive, but we pay like $48 a month, to have that. And it's, if we're on vacation, which when we're out of town, we always have someone watch the house because we got some big dogs, and we don't like to board them, but that's beside the point. But we usually have someone staying here when we're gone. But even if we're out to dinner or we're at work, it's a great peace of mind to have that home defense system, guys. Even if you can't afford that, get some ADT signs, stick them out in the yard, stick them on the windows. It will help. You'd be surprised that some robbers driving around, burglars, looking to break into a house, they see that ADT sign, it might prevent that. So those are just a few other things, guys. Thank you for watching the video. I'm sorry if I kind of rambled on. If you have any questions, please let me know. If you want to make a video response to this about your home defense setup or how you feel about the subject, that'd be awesome. But check me out on Instagram at GlockGuy226. Please like this video. Please subscribe. Go check out my other videos. And thanks for watching, guys.